Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Nice
Good
to
to
see you. Alright, so my name's Tessa, and I see right here on your intake form that you're Callie. Do you have anything else that you want to go by?
No, Callie's good.
Do you need any water, any snacks, tea?
I'll take tea.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, so this is the Collins Center. We're a child advocacy center. We usually just work with either our own staff or any different community organizations around us. We kind of help with sexual assault crisis support, advocacy, prevention, education, really anything that involves children, and it can also continue to adults. So this is in fact an intake meeting. So I'll kind of just start with explaining how this works, and if you have any questions at the end, just ask. So I'll basically ask you some questions about your family, what's been recently concerning you, any future goals if you have any. You don't really have to come up with any right now. We can always work on that in future meetings. And I looked over the intake form that you filled out, so we can also touch on some of that. But if you feel like I missed anything super important, or you feel like you want to add anything in, you're more than welcome to. And then we'll see how the Collins Center can really support you guys the most. Do you have any questions about that?
I don't think so, no.
Alright. And then I'm going to explain to you confidentiality real quick. So confidentiality here to us at least means that everything will stay in this room and or the agency, except unless I need to share with my supervisor or my colleagues for any consultation on anything that you guys are going through. If you have or say anything that harms to yourself and or others around you, if you say anything that could go harmful to a vulnerable population, or if I was subpoenaed by court, and then of course with your own consent. Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Alright, perfect. Let's get started. So what brings you in today?
So my daughter, she's 16. She started dating her boyfriend a couple months ago. Things started out fine, and I just noticed a change in behavior on her part. She stopped hanging out with a lot of her friends, really only spends time with her boyfriend, and so as a mother I obviously got concerned, and I noticed some unusual texts from him, getting very upset if she doesn't respond fast enough. He's definitely restricted who she hangs out with, doesn't want her hanging out with her friends, doesn't really give her a lot of time for school, other activities, and it kind of just seems very controlling, and I'm just concerned if that's behavior that I should be worried about, if it's the beginning of something, if something's already going on outside of that. And she kind of just brushes it off as him being protective, but I just feel like there's a difference between being protective and then possessive, and I'm just not sure if there's behaviors I should be looking out for. And she's 16, I don't want to be a helicopter mom, but I just want to make sure that she's safe.
So you're just feeling a little nervous about her new relationship.
Yeah.
Alright. Could you tell me more about her being a little separated from her friends?
Yeah, I've noticed usually on the weekends she'll go out and do things with her friends, and now she's just kind of allocating all her time towards her boyfriend. Usually in the beginning there was a good split, but now it's only with her boyfriend, and I'll ask her why, and then it's always, oh well, he said that I shouldn't, or that I should spend time with him instead, because he's always giving her time and they're not. And she just says that he speaks very negatively of her friends, and I don't really see why. These are her friends that she's had for forever, so I don't really understand where that's coming from on his part.
So you feel a little comfortable because she's known and trusted these people for almost her entire life.
Exactly.
Okay. And how do you feel in this situation right now?
Nervous and kind of unsure about what to do. I feel kind of torn because obviously as a mother, I just want to step in, but I don't want to overwhelm her or just be a total helicopter mom and then have her keep everything from me. And I don't want her being sneaky or secretive. I just want her to be honest am nervous about, like, I just feel like this is toxic behavior on his part, and I feel like this is kind of the beginning. This is the beginning of it. I don't want it spiraling into something else and progressively getting worse.
So have you talked to anyone else like around you about this? Like any of your friends? Has she spoken? Actually, let's just begin with that. Have you been able to speak with anyone else about this at all, or is this your first step?
This is my first step.
Well, I'm happy that you're taking this step. That is very good. So has she spoken to anyone else about the situation? Does she even know you're here currently?
She doesn't know that I'm here, and I honestly don't think that she has spoken to anyone else really about it, and that's what I worry, is because she is really taking a big step away from her friends, and those are the people, that she would definitely first go to talk to about any relationship problems, but if she's pushing them away, then they're not going to be there.
And could we return back to, you said earlier about texts from him? Are any of these like immediate harm? Is it any serious threats? Anything like that at all?
No, like immediate harm or serious threats, but he does get very like angry, and you can kind of see that just like conveyed in the text, and it's like just threatening, but in the way of like, if you don't hang out with me today, then we're done. Or if you don't do this with me today, then we're done. And so that's just where I feel like he's just constantly giving her ultimatums.
Could you tell me, or continue to tell me like a little more about that if you're comfortable?
Yeah, it's more of like, it kind of started off as like, well, you just need to spend time with me, all this stuff, and then there's one instance I could think of where she really wanted to go watch her friend's soccer game with all of her friends, and he basically, it started with that, he texted her and was like, we were supposed to hang out tonight, if you go do this with your friends, like, we're completely done, like, we're over. And then I think she just has since then had this like fear of like not listening to him, and so since then she's just completely stepped away from her friends. And he's also I've seen very negative texts about her friends from him that just kind of came out of nowhere, and I've asked her if she feels that way about her friends, and she doesn't, but she just kind of wants to listen to him.
And have any of her like outside support systems come to you about anything specifically at all?
No, and that's only because I really haven't seen any of her friends because they're not around anymore. And so that's where I kind of worry.
Well, yeah, it's completely understandable to worry when she's kind of cutting herself off from everyone and like only focusing all her time on him. So like you said that she was on a soccer team, so she still continues to go to those practices and everything like that. And is she still very like into it?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, but it's definitely a struggle to get her to go to practices and all of that now. I mean, she'll still go only because I make her go, but it's just she doesn't enjoy it like she used to.
Do you feel like your guys' relationship has been affected at all from this?
Yes, and I noticed that I try to ask questions in like, I guess like the best way possible, where I'm not trying to pry. More just like, well, why don't you go see your friends today or anything like that. And I've noticed that she starts to get very short, and if I just pry a little bit, just being like, hey, like, you don't have to hang out with him today, you can go see your friends, she just immediately shuts it down. And that's just, I guess, disheartening, because I'm not really sure why, and I worry like the first step is with kind of isolating from her friends, and I don't want her to isolate from me either.
So do you feel like she is currently isolating from you right now, and that's like what began like your first worry of this? Is that right? Or
yeah, and I would definitely like, I I still want her to be able to trust me and tell me things, even if she is, I guess, isolating. It's just kind of, I want her to be able to navigate things herself, but knowing when she needs to come to her mom, if that makes sense.
That's completely understandable. Do you have anything else that comes to mind of any support systems that she's missing out on right now? Like, I know you said that she's not really speaking to her friends. Does she still at all hang out with the soccer team? Does she still do well in school?
I've definitely noticed that her grades have started to slip, and I don't know if that's like a result of hanging out with him. I mean, I'm pretty like only hanging out on the weekends and then like one day during the school week, just because you're in high school, you have things to do. Like, but I do notice that when she's not with him, she is on her phone constantly texting him. So it's kind of like he's still there, and I feel like that's really pulled her away from her schoolwork, missing assignments, not doing as well on tests. And I do hope that at school, like, because they go to the same school together, I mean, obviously I don't want to go to the school and start asking, but I do hope that if there was any, I guess, off-putting behavior between the two of them or my daughter at school, that the school would come and reach out to me. Because obviously she's there most of the week. They see a lot more than I do, and they see them together a lot more than I do.
Of course. And secondly, I see on your intake form that you are single. Is her father currently in the picture at all?
He is not. We're divorced, and he just kind of took a very big step back in the relationship. As far as I know, they are not in contact whatsoever.
Okay. And since they're not in contact at all, are you still in contact with him?
Yes, but just for like bare minimum, as far as talking about like financial stuff and all of that kind of those things, just very on a need to know basis.
And do you have any concerns right now financially at all?
No.
No? Okay. So how many times would you say that this occurs where you get the feeling of being nervous about this relationship with her?
I would say it's probably, like, I feel like it's something that kind of just stays on my mind, gives me a lot of anxiety. But yeah, I would say it's kind of just something that's always in the back of my mind.
And what are you doing to cope with the nervousness of this all?
I'll talk to like other moms in the neighborhood about it. Like, they all have kids around the same age or older kids that have kind of, you know, gone through these like teenage phases. And I will say, like, I've talked to some other moms in the neighborhood, and they've kind of just been like, oh, this is no big deal, whatever, it's just high school relationship. But I feel like mom instincts kind of kick in, and just, if it's something that's kind of making the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, you want to do something about it.
Of course. And is this your only child in the house currently, or?
Yeah, she's my only daughter.
Only daughter. All right. Well, I'm sure you guys are very close. So how did you want to like go about with coming here today? Like, what was your main interest of being here?
I kind of just wanted to find like resources, and also maybe just an outlet for her. Whether it's just someone for her to talk to. And that's where I kind of worry, is I don't want to like tell her, be like, hey, so like you're gonna start talking to someone and like freak her out and make her think that something's wrong. So just kind of trying to figure out how to navigate going down that route, because even if this is like nothing, I don't see any harm in, you know, finding someone for her to talk to, or for someone for her to like help her work things out through anything. So,
well, of course, we have many programs here that can educate, prevent anything like that. We can continue that in a later session, of course. I still just want to get like a full picture of everything that's happening currently. Is there really anything else that you feel I should know right now?
Just trying to think, like, I just don't know if there's any, like, I guess just like trigger words or like phrases on his part that I should be looking out for, and just like, I don't know, I'm just concerned that there's red flags that I'm missing, and with her isolating and all of that stuff, I just worry that if things get worse, she's not going to come to me.
Okay. So you're just scared that you don't want to butt in and be that nosy mom, but at the same time, this is your daughter, and of course you're going to be protective of them and have so much love for them all the time. So there is support groups for parents that are trying to learn how their teenagers are feeling in that moment. Are you interested in anything like that for yourself as well?
Yeah, that's definitely something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, okay, we can definitely start that. So I also wanted to ask that what was different from the beginning of the relationship to how it is right now?
I think that there was just a lot more balance. Like, she was able to balance school, him, friends, sports, and now it kind of just seems like she stepped away from everything else and is only spending time with him. And I think I would say it was pretty gradual, but now it's kind of just like a complete 180 from how it was at the start. And I just kind of worry that it's gonna affect like decisions that she makes for her future. She's 16, she started thinking about college. They've already talked about going to same college, doing the same thing, going where he goes, and it kind of just seems like she is just gonna kind of follow him wherever. And so I just kind of worry that she's completely like, just like, I don't want to say brainwashed, I don't think that's the right word, but just kind of like in love, high school love, and is just like oblivious to maybe any red flags going into it, or any red flags that he's showing, because it's the beginning of a relationship. So I just feel like she's not seeing the big picture.
So you feel like since he's kind of just separated her away from all of her friends, all of her family, that now she kind of can only see him.
Yeah, and then I just also worry, like, let's say they do end things, like, who is she going to have to hang out with at school? Who is she going to have around? And I don't want to tell her that, like, if you guys break up, like, you're going to have no one, but that's kind of the point that it's getting to, and that's what makes me really worry as a mom, like her not having any friends at school, or her not having any friends to hang out with after.
Well, you're taking a great step right now, really coming and like trying to learn at least what your daughter's situation is currently. Do you have anything else that comes to mind right now that you feel like I should know also?
The only thing that like I'm kind of thinking of and kind of trying to think as to like why she is just gravitating towards him so much, and I don't know if it's like lack of relationship with her father, and you know, if she's trying to find a relationship that she knows that she doesn't have, and just so like blindly listening to him, kind of like you would a father, just like listening to whatever he says. And so that's where I'm kind of trying to navigate, like, if that's something I should talk to her about, and kind of just like, her father hasn't been in the picture basically since she was born, so it's not something that she's ever had before as far as a relationship with him, and I don't know if that's something that I should work on maybe trying to reintroduce to her. But again, it's just trying to figure out the right way to navigate all these things, and as far as maybe having a conversation with her about how she feels about her relationship or lack of relationship with her dad.
Well, I think if you're comfortable, of course, like, you should be able to openly speak again with your daughter. But if that is not the case, we of course can also do some one-on-one individual stuff if you want to look into more programs like that next session. Really anything. But again, if you don't have anything else to say right now,
No, I feel like that's it. I think I just definitely next session want to figure out like resources for her and then also resources for myself.
yeah, of course, and we can do that. Well, it was really nice meeting you, Callie.